Hi everyone, iExalt here and I'm back with a new Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer video guide. This time I would like to introduce the Asari Sentinel. That's the character I used for my Platinum playthroughs, and I wanted to focus on energy drain. So I used a level 7 Asari and I spec'd all my points into energy drain. I also wanted to focus on her different tech abilities because the Asari Sentinel is very famous for being one of the kits that can deal a huge amount of tech damage and especially tech combo damage. That's why I usually take disruptor rounds with me. These are, in my opinion, the most reliable rounds that you can use. So this is where I stand usually when I have to solo on this map, or even for team gameplay, in fact, especially if I don't have to deal with units that will urge me all the time, like nullifiers or berserkers. So what I do is that I use my hurricane to prime enemies, but I also try to save my ammo because, well, the hurricane is very greedy as far as ammo is concerned, and you don't have many rounds, in fact. By dealing huge amount of tech damage, I managed to stagger the enemy all the time. And in fact, the Asari Sentinel, if you are asking the question to yourself whether the Asari Sentinel is platinum viable or not, yes, well, she definitely is. She can stagger enemy, and as you can see with the Saboteur, if you manage to shoot her weak points, she will be staggered for a little while. The same rule goes with berserkers as well as behemoth in a certain extent. So whenever the anointed comes, I try to break his shield using a very strong weapon, the Assure pistol. And once his shields are off, then I can kill him, or I can, use throw to send the anointed out of the map. In one of my playthrough, the Anarchist would come where I'm standing right now. That can be a little dangerous if you can't predict it. Also, pariahs tend to come to you, as well as wraiths, but wraiths can be easily dealt with, no problem with this. I started using the Assure pistol because I didn't really need to prime any enemies anymore. I just wanted to get rid of the last units on the field. But in many instances in this video you managed to see that my tech armor was very useful for the damage resistance. And remember, she's only level 7. She managed, the first wave of the Kett faction on Platinum on her own. So ammunition is really running low, but as you can see, you just have to prime the enemy, especially, shielded enemies like the Destined, and, detonate the tech combo. This is another place where I go, that's why I detonated the canister, so as not to be surprised on my playthrough, but, well, unfortunately, the second wave was, it didn't go well.
Get to cover.
So instead, let me show you how the Asari Sentinel can deal with the retrieval objective. This is another playthrough. This is the exact same character, the build hasn't changed and nothing has changed. I'm using the same consumables, disruptor rounds. Objectives can be really tricky for the Sentinel if you don't manage to survive while, for example, crossing the map. You know, you can take a specific route in order to avoid the enemies, but that doesn't mean that, you know, the saboteurs will not try to flank you and, you know, kill you very rapidly. And in many instances in this video, you're going to see how the tech abilities of the Asari Sentinel are so useful. So when I saw the third object right here, I told myself, well, you can't take it right now, you're just going to die, you know, Macuel. So instead, what I did was that I wanted to bring the enemy into the Cave of Doom, and then I took another route, you know, using my powers to stagger enemies. Well, the Destin was not really staggered, was he? But it's always useful to regenerate your shields. This is what you want if you want survivability on Platinum difficulty.
Nearly through. Artifact recovered.
Well, this is the perfect example of how the saboteurs can flank you, and, you know, just they can destroy your shields, and then you find yourself out of shields, and you have the possibility of using an energy drain to regenerate all of your shields, almost. In these instances, I used my shields consumables, but really it's because I wanted to urge things a little. This was not my first playthrough, so, you know, just wanted to get rid of it. By using extended drain, like I did with my human sentinel in my previous gold solo, I can stagger many enemies. I can deal area damage, which is exactly what I want, especially if you have a group of shielded enemies. And by, you know, keeping the enemy staggered all the time, I just can protect myself and, you know, remain focused on the ascendants, because you have, you know, a couple of ascendants to kill. Even though for the Asari Sentinel this is not really difficult because she has backlash, but this is not the purpose of the video to be discussing biotic abilities here, even though you can draw your own conclusions as to what you are watching right now. Energy Drain can also protect you from the attacks of Ascendants, the orb attacks, if you use it at the very right moment. And unlike Backlash, Energy Drain tends to be really reliable, though the smoke that the Destin use can make you miss. And then this is a disaster. So eventually I don't really have, you know, to focus fire on the saboteurs or on all the enemies around the Ascendants, because eventually they die, you know, little by little, by using Energy Drain and, you know, Extended Drain. So if I can rid of them, that's good, but, you know, little by little I just don't have to shoot them. Here I used Energy Drain and Throw in a row in order to, well, get rid of this annoying saboteur. Well, here I am. I just Backlash failed, as you can tell. So, Energy Drain instantly regenerated my shields, so that, you know, I have to go through Shields Gate again, and that gives me more survivability on Platinum.
Down to one.
If you spec energy drain up to rank 6, this is even more useful, especially against remnants, because the first perk will give you extra damage for against synthetics, and also more shields, I believe. But what I prefer using, nonetheless, it's rather the second perk, the one at the bottom. For the simple reason that it gives extra shields to all the allies I have around me when I use it. And that's, very precious when you have characters who are not really tanky. So I went on the roof in order to, kite the berserker. I needed to know where it was. And then the third wave really begins. What I do is basically I try to group the enemy together, like, a sheep. And then I start my kiting, running around the map strategy. So it's a bit long, but you can, see how energy drain and tech combos are really useful against many enemies in the Kett faction. Not only the, Destined, Anointed, and that, but also observers, because you have observers. So though you only have observers on waves 3, 5, and 7, they can really annoy you because they spawn. They are really easy to kill, especially on wave 3. But whenever you kill one, just look around to be sure that there is not another one spawning right behind you. And that happened quite a few times, I believe. Another example of how Backlash missed. It's a shame, really, but things like that can happen. And the best thing that I can do in order to progress in the wave is to try to focus on area damage. So that I can take down many enemies at the same time. Whenever you detonate a tech combo, it creates a blue area. And any enemy walking on it will be staggered for a little while. Like this Anointed, for example. And as long as they are on the ground, I know that I can, deal with them very quickly and without much problem. So the tech armor is obviously a very nice addition to the Asari Sentinel, because it gives you more damage resistance. So even if your shields break, the enemies take longer to kill you. And you can come up with a new survival strategy, a new runaway strategy. Taking out shielded enemies, for me, the priority. That's why I focused on Anointed and on Observers. Destined, I'm not saying anything about them because sometimes, you can't see them because of the smoke. So that's why, it's better to use, these shielded enemies or any other enemies really to restore your shields whenever you need it.
Shields are gone.
And also that's why I chose recharge speed on rank 4, and also the reason why I use gear like the expert package or the structural economics package, because I want power recharge speed.
No heal.
And because of the tech combos, it's very easy to take down the enemy's shields. So that whenever health remains, you can just use throw, and that will stagger the enemy again. Even if throw did not detonate the combo, that happened with this observer. It can stagger it, and that gives you like a few seconds to run away, and that's exactly what you want. So it's taking a bit long, but let me remind you that this Asari is only level 7, so she's very flimsy, though she has tech armor. But you couldn't tell, because as far as tech armor is concerned, I cannot have further damage resistance. I expect everything in it. So energy drain and tech armor, both, you can see how the combination of the two is really, really powerful on Platinum.
Watch the Ascendant.
The enemies can't do anything, and whenever I am at shield gate, I do not necessarily use energy drain immediately, especially when it fails like it just did with the 2 destined. But usually I wait a little before I use it. Whenever I break my shields gate breaks is a good time generally to use it, but sometimes you can just wait depending on the enemies you have right in front of you.
Shields are gone.
You see, I was at health gate because of the Ascendant. I did not anticipate on the orb attack, and thanks to the magnificent power that energy drain is, I was able to restore my shields almost immediately, and now I'm using the siphon ability of my weapons to restore my health. And in this instance with the Ascendants, I used energy drain to cancel the damage done by the orb attack. And little by little, as you can tell, I managed my way through the wave. Takes a long time to kill, but it's not necessary to show off when you are playing alone. So I don't really care, it's not like a speed run or anything. It's just, a video to show you how the Asari Sentinel can be used effectively on Platinum, even at low levels. I keep playing with low level characters. Whenever they are level 20, I usually reset their levels because I want to use different builds, and I want to build really the character, because if you start with a level 20 character, a problem I had with Mass Effect 3 for instance, well, it's good, it's really fine, but you can't, build the character because the building has been done already. All the points are here. You can't really see what are the negative aspects of your character if you spec everything at the same time. I prefer using a more piecemeal approach to talents in Mass Effect. So because I see no observer anymore, I know that this is the end of the wave. It took me like a long time to do so, but I don't really care as long as I can survive. So whenever you have a team, a biotic team or a power-based team, you can use the Asari Sentinel because, she's perfect with both. She actually can be really useful against Ascendants as well. And I even wonder if you use Energy Drain whenever he's throwing his orb attack at you. If you use Energy Drain to cancel the effects of the damage done by the orb attack, and then you also restore the shields of your allies, then I wonder if that can, cancel the effect of the orb attack for your allies as well. I'm not sure about this. This is not something I tried. Probably I'll be, trying this in a moment. Also, sometimes you see me using my biotic powers. It's because I'm used to using the Asari Sentinel with the biotic power bonuses. What I mean is that at some points, when you look at her skill tree, you can spec her so as to boost your damage output whenever you use a biotic power. That's why sometimes you see me, using throw even if there's nothing. It's because I'm used to using throw to boost my damage output, even if, there's nothing. It's 3 seconds, but it can deal a huge amount of damage, especially if you use a pistol like the Assure pistol. I mean, the percentage is ridiculous in the end, and you can just outright kill Ascendants with a few shots. That's really impressive. So in a way, I'm using this the same biotic powers the same way as I did Barricade with my Human Sentinel in order to boost my damage.
Ascendant!
Three more to go.
Anyway, I hope you found this video useful and that you will be, using the Asari Sentinel even more. She doesn't drop often if you know how to, hide when you have to. And she has great survivability, even if you play missions like One Life to Live or anything else. Now this video is getting a little bit long, so thank you for watching it. I really hope that it's going to be useful, and I hope that in months to come I'll be seeing even more Asari Sentinels on the field. Energy Drain is a very great ability, and Take Armor gives you the possibility to run around the map a little. Anyway, thank you again and have a nice day.